So, welcome, Norma. I understand that you have experienced one of what we call our impossible healings having to do with atrial fibrillation in the heart. Yes?
Yes, I believe so. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, why don't we talk first about when it started, what your symptoms were, how often it occurred, what happened with you and all of that before our little magic happened. Go ahead.
Well, about 3 years ago in a routine pre-op EKG, I guess they do that before you have surgery, they discovered that I had atrial fibrillation, which was a shock to me. I've always been a very healthy person. And everybody went into a panic mode. Oh, we cannot do the surgery. You can't do, oh, you have AFib. You got to go do this. You got to go see a cardiologist. So reluctantly, I went to see a cardiologist. I really liked him. He didn't try to scare me too much. He explained to me the risks and what he was recommending. And at that time, I decided to not do a whole lot about it. I started taking a beta blocker. He was concerned about the rapid heartbeat, but it was making me feel worse. So I stopped. And I did notice a drop in energy level, but I thought, well, maybe I'm recovering from the surgery or, whatever. I was attributing it to different things. And then in August of last year, so it's 13 months ago, I woke up one morning and I could feel my heart jumping out of my chest. I could, I got scared. I thought I was having a heart attack. And so I made another appointment with my cardiologist, and my heart rate at that point, my resting heart rate was 130 something, which I think it's supposed to be below 100 or something.
Well, it's supposed to be like 60 or something like that.
Well, that made him nervous. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, just 130 is the kind of pulse rate I get when I go off running for half an hour. Okay.
That's what he said. He said, it's like you're running a marathon continuously. That's why you're tired, not feeling well. Yeah. Right. Says we need to get that down. We can't keep that. So he gives me a beta blocker, and he gives me a blood thinner, which I was really reluctant to take, but I thought I also don't want to have a stroke. So I better take it. And so I started taking that, and we were able to get the heart rate down to a manageable level. He said that for my age, which I'll be 66 in November, he said so at that time I was 64. Yeah. He said that for my age, a person with AFib, he likes to see it under 100, between 80 and 100. And so I managed to get it down to that level. And little by little, I weaned myself off of the beta blocker because it was horrible. But I had no energy level. It was, in the meantime, I had another surgery. And I was attributing it to the surgery, but no energy level. I couldn't climb stairs. If I went to pick something up off the floor, it took me time to recover my breath. My youngest daughter came to visit. She lives out of town. She continuously asked, "Are you okay?" Because if we walked even mildly uphill, I'd be wheezing, To me, it became normal. It was like, this is who I am now, right?
Yes.
And at some point, I participated in some OEFT practice groups. And at some point in the last few months, I decided I'm going to focus on my AFib. I want to, go ahead, what? Were you going to say something?
I just want to interject for a second. For those listening in, OEFT stands for Optimal EFT, and it's a practice group. You're one of our members in our membership, and part of that privileges there is you get together with other people like once a week at your option, and you do Optimal EFT unseen therapist sessions for various members, for yourselves, and you ended up, I'm kind of fast forwarding here a little bit, you ended up, if I understand the story right, having a session where people were in your group working with you, unseen therapists. All of a sudden, it was like a night and day bingo type wow, it went away kind of thing.
Yes, I want to clarify that I had been working on the AFib either directly as the focus person or in the background. We were working with others for maybe a month or 6 weeks. But this was a breakthrough moment because at the end of the session, I went from having zero energy to feeling fine, taking an AFib reading on my Apple Watch and having it be normal for the first time in 3 years. I mean, prior to that, my daughter's a nurse. If anytime she took my pulse, it was, yep, you're an AFib. Anytime I went to a doctor's appointment, yep, you're an AFib. If I took my blood pressure, yep, you're an AFib. It was constant. It was like never not an AFib. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I understand it right, this, I don't know what this Apple thing is, but it's a AFib detecting thing. But you were doing that almost daily, and so you were having AFib. You had evidence of AFib.
Yep.
Daily.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. All right.
I was also participating. I live in Michigan, and I was a subject in an experiment. That's why I had the Apple Watch. The University of Michigan, asks you to be a volunteer, and they give you benefits. Like they gave me this free Apple Watch, and for 3 weeks I had to take my blood pressure twice a day as part of that study. And every time I took my blood pressure, it says irregular heartbeat detected, probably a sign of AFib. So I mean, it was very, very consistent, right?
Yeah, right.
Suddenly, not only was it gone, but my energy was back. It's like, oh wow, I can like function today. So much so that I have a foot injury, so I went to the doctor about it to make sure it wasn't broken, and that's when he confirmed, no, there's no AFib. I finally realized my foot injury is because I haven't been able to walk for over a year, and now it was like, oh, I can walk, and I overdid it, and so I think I sprained my foot. Is what I did.
Okay. Well, okay, so you had all this evidence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and okay, all of a sudden you could feel the AFib going. I mean, that's my term, but it was like you could feel it, and here's this energy, and it was like a light switch. Now, for those listening in, we get results like this is one of our impossible healings. That is, this is typically beyond the reach of all man-made methods. There are. In fact, I looked it up today on the internet. I'm looking at the Heart Association, and they were talking about cures. But one of those cures, well, I'm not sure there's a cure, but they were using the term cure. It's like a temporary cure. We'll get it for now, kind of thing. It's called ablation, and you're familiar with that. What does that amount to?
Well, they sedate you and they hook you up to electrodes and they shock your hearts. It's not very different from what you see on Grey's Anatomy, but without the paddles, with electrodes. What they did for me was not quite an ablation. It was called a cardioversion. It's a milder form of that, but basically the same principle, and it worked for 12 hours. And as I told you, I had burns all over my skin from the electrodes. It was expensive, and 12 hours, and then I was back. So for those 12 hours, I noticed I went to pick up something off the floor, and I wasn't out of breath. I could walk upstairs without feeling like I need to sit down and recover. Okay.
So this happened, this light switch, voila, AFib gone thing happened 6 weeks ago, if I understand right. And you haven't had any signs in your Apple Watch or anything else since, and your energy's been way up since, yes?
Yes. Yeah. To me, it's a miracle.
Right.
I know that, I understand that maybe another aspect could come up and I'll be back, but for now, it's unbelievable.
Well, yeah. So we got 6 weeks at last, but
yeah. Okay. Even if I'd had one day, I would have thought, wow,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. And we are visiting right now, and you are at the end of your day in Michigan. It's at like 6 or 6:30 or thereabouts there. And today you've had a busy day, including this afternoon, 4 full therapy sessions with clients. Am I correct?
Yes. And I go into their homes, so it takes a time. I got to drive there. I visit with them, then I leave. Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that would tend to soak up the energy of almost anyone.
Any 66-year-old. Yeah.
Well, I think a 46-year-old would, at the end of the day, go,
Yeah.
you know, because some of these sessions get really intense. They get into deep stuff, you know, and it isn't some light little trip through that we're doing here. So, okay, well, anyway, so impossible healing, that does not occur elsewhere.